In South Africa, wild hyenas are becoming a serious threat to rural communities, especially in agricultural areas where livestock losses are increasing. Just one nighttime attack can leave several sheep or calves dead, causing farmers damage from 20,000 to 30,000 rand in a single incident. Over a season, repeated attacks can push damages to more than 150,000 rand, not to mention the cost of damaged fences and constant night patrols. In many areas, hyenas have forced farmers to abandon livestock altogether. As this predator continues to spread across the countryside, how much more damage will South Africans endure before real solutions are put in place? Let's explore the answer in this video. Hunting hyenas with a gun in South Africa is a task entirely based on accuracy, control, and the strategic positioning of both the shooter and the weapon. Every movement must be intentional, and the rifle must not just be a tool, it must serve as an extension of the hunter's vision and timing. When the terrain offers no forgiveness and the target moves like a shadow, the way you place and handle the rifle often determines whether you succeed or go home empty-handed. Positioning the rifle begins long before the animal appears. The hunter must find solid ground, choose a background that breaks their outline, and establish a stable shooting position that allows for fast, accurate aiming. Whether shooting from a seated position, kneeling in tall grass, or lying prone behind a rocky outcrop, the rifle must be placed firmly supported by elbows, a bipod, or even a backpack. Any instability, any shake in the barrel, can cause you to miss the only opportunity. The angle of the shot is just as important as the target. Since hyenas rarely stop moving, the shooter must anticipate movement and keep the barrel aligned with possible approach paths. Never chase the animal with the scope. Instead, hold your position, breathe steadily, and aim only when necessary. A proper shooting stance allows you to cover your field of view with minimal adjustments. Your body stays still while the rifle moves naturally with your line of sight.
We're done.
Down, eh? Where is it? Emma, I got one more.
Here, Bob.
Trigger control is the final, decisive step. Hyenas do not give second chances, so the trigger pull must be smooth and cautious. A slow, steady squeeze keeps the rifle from jerking off target. At the same time, your eyes must stay locked on the impact point. The moment the shot fires, your body follows through instinctively, ready for a second shot if needed. A good shot isn't just about hitting the target, it's about how you execute it under pressure. Even the choice of scope plays an important role in hunting hyenas with a gun. Low light conditions are common, so optics with illuminated reticles, wide fields of view, and fast focus capability are essential. The scope must be perfectly zeroed, there's no room for guessing. Every component of the rifle, from scope to sling, must work in unison, supporting the shot before it's taken. Hunting hyenas with a gun is about mastering stillness, control, and the invisible line between weapon and will. When the rifle is placed with care, balanced with purpose, and fired with confidence, the entire hunt converges into one quiet, perfect moment. So do you think gun hunting is the only way? Or is there another method? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to explore more of our best videos.
It's just in the tree.
Yeah. Come.
So on the right, standing.
In Louisiana, where canals snake between mangroves and vast marshes, people don't live off the land, they live within it. And alligators are not just symbols of the wilderness, they're also a growing menace. In recent years, state officials have recorded hundreds of alligator invasions, boat wrecks, livestock mutilations, and human attacks. When I got a call from my old friend Bo, a third-generation hunter from Plaquemines Parish, I drove down to southern Louisiana. "We need to clear some dinghy-sized alligators," Bo said, his voice a mixture of frustration and urgency. It was the beginning of the most intense and memorable hunt of my life. We started the morning on a flat-bottomed airboat, gliding across Lafitte Lagoon like a knife cutting through water. The dim light of dawn illuminated the gun. I sat at the bow, clutching my Winchester XPR .300 Win Mag. Suddenly, the pilot signaled a stop. On a spit of land in the middle of the lagoon, log lay motionless. But I knew right away it wasn't just any log. I raised the gun, adjusted the scope, and aimed just behind the animal's left eye. There was a sharp pop, and its head jerked and fell. We approached and were amazed. The male alligator was more than 13 feet long, weighing approximately 700 pounds.
And one more time. Oh, fuck.
After hauling the body aboard, we continued deeper into a flooded Melaleuca forest. The reeds were taller than our heads, obscuring our vision. A silent streak of water cut across the lagoon, sliding along the side of the boat. Something was swimming parallel. I focused my scope on the trail, trying to keep my gun steady despite the rocking of the boat. A flathead emerged from the water, its eyes glowing red with light. I fired. The bullet split the water, lodged in the skull. Blood spread in a red swirl. This time it was a female, nearly 11 feet long, with mud and chicken feathers still stuck to its jaws, a sign of a stealthy predator that had attacked the barn the night before.
More for old time.
In the afternoon, we left the boat and hiked through a swampy prairie near Homa. A local farmer reported a huge alligator had been near the barn for 3 nights in a row. The footprints were deep in the mud, as wide as pot lids, stretching along the wire fence. I followed, the Ruger American .308 at the ready at my shoulder. As we approached a large bush, there was a swish. The animal was slithering out. I aimed, fired. The first bullet hit the shoulder first, but it wasn't enough to stop it. It rolled over, its mouth wide open. I backed away, repositioned, and loaded a second round. The first hit the neck, then the last shot hit the back of the skull. The animal was as big as a small boat, weighing 800 pounds. That night, we continued our hunt by boat at night, using flashlights to shine on the water. The sight was surreal, dozens of eyes reflecting the light, like red gems suspended in the darkness. But one pair of eyes was still, not blinking, not ducking, the sign of a pack leader.
Jake, you think we need to put something else in it?
Mom! Go ahead.
I switched to night shooting mode, adjusted the laser sight. When the boat was about 40 yards away, I pulled the trigger. The bullet hit the animal squarely in the head, and the animal barely moved before sinking. After 5 minutes, it surfaced, a huge, gray-scaled alligator, nearly 14 feet long. It took the team 30 minutes to pull it ashore by hand. The next morning, we returned to the area along Lake Pontchartrain where a large alligator had attacked a fishing boat. This time we ambushed from the shore, hiding under an old willow tree. The wind was stirring the water. A swoosh sounded from the reeds. Something large was wading from the shore into the water. I crouched down, holding my gun to my shoulder. A huge alligator's head emerged from the brush, moving toward the water's edge. I aimed at his temple, held my breath, and pulled the trigger. A crisp sound rang out. The animal collapsed. 12.5 feet long, it was a well-known nocturnal predator in the area.
Heading.
Got that one. Yep. Good job.
He's under the boat here.
Death roll.
On the trail leading into the mangrove forest, we suddenly came face to face with a crocodile lying in the middle of the path. It was not afraid, just staring at us with a challenging gaze. It was a dangerous situation, since the distance was only about 20 yards. I signaled everyone to keep quiet, then slowly raised my gun. I chose a position between the eyes, then pulled the trigger. The animal did not cry, did not struggle, it fell like a rotten log. After dragging it to the side of the road, we measured it to be 13 feet long, so big that 2 people could not hug him.
Jarak dekat. Selain menyajikan atraksi menantang maut,
That afternoon, as the sun filtered through the reeds, we waited on a dike where a huge crocodile had taken refuge. The water was as still as glass, and no one spoke.
Come.
Suddenly, in the distance, a splash sounded. A crocodile slithered through the grass, slowly moving toward the lagoon. I raised my gun, watching it glide like a shadow. When it turned its head toward us, I squeezed the trigger. The bullet shattered the thick skull. The animal twitched, then went still. Another giant, 13 feet long, with scars on its back from turf wars.
Yeah.
As we retreated, we found another alligator lying near the irrigation ditch, a female preparing to dig a nest. She hadn't seen us yet. I crept around behind her, getting a good angle. The first bullet ended quickly, hitting the back of her skull. It was a quiet end. Her carcass was more than 12 feet long, her belly bloated with eggs. We knew, if we didn't take her down, a dozen more aggressive individuals would hatch next year, continuing the menace to the community.
Shot.
منطقة الدماغ.
As the sun rose, a pickup truck loaded with giant alligators jolted along the bumpy dirt road. The long night was over, but the threat was not. Hunting alligators in Louisiana was not just a skill, but a responsibility, protecting the swamp from an apex predator that had become accustomed to the scent of humans. Each shot was not just a kill, but a reminder that nature, no matter how beautiful, must be controlled. And hunters like us, with our watchful eyes and steady hands, were the last line of defense to maintain that balance.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hallelujah. There we go.
In Germany, wild boars are becoming an increasing nightmare for both farmers and local residents. From destroying crop fields and vineyards to breaking fences and causing traffic accidents, the damage is widespread and costly, with nationwide losses estimated to exceed $500 million in 2025. In heavily affected areas like Bavaria, some farms face repair costs of up to $30,000, while suburban neighborhoods are struggling with destroyed gardens and rising insurance claims. With the devastating destruction caused by wild boars, do people here have an effective way to stop this chaos? Let's find out in this video. As wild boar numbers continue to rise across Germany, many landowners and wildlife managers have adopted dog-assisted gun hunting as a fast and effective solution. This method focuses on speed, coordination, and mobility. Hunters work with dogs to locate and flush wild boars from thick vegetation such as forests, bushes, and reed beds, places where, without dogs, they would be difficult to detect. When the wild boars are driven into open areas, hunters use shotguns to take quick and accurate shots. This method is especially useful in rugged, forested areas where other methods are often ineffective.
You got him?
Yeah, but
Specially trained dogs play an important role in this operation. Breeds such as the Deutscher Wachtelhund, Bavarian Mountain Hound, or Hanoverian Scent Hound are highly valued for their strong tracking instincts and endurance. These dogs are trained to scent wild boars, pursue them through rough terrain, and drive them toward open areas where hunters are waiting. In many cases, the dogs do not engage directly but bark continuously to force the wild boars to move and reveal their location. In more aggressive situations, catch dogs which have the function of holding the animal in place may be used, but only under close supervision to ensure safety.
Bad stuff. We're about to send the heat on.
Once the wild boars are flushed out, hunters positioned strategically along trails or open areas must act quickly and decisively. Rifles using large calibers such as .308 Winchester, .30-06 Springfield, or 7x64mm are commonly used due to their power and accuracy. Shots are often taken at close to medium range, requiring quick reflexes and precise aim, especially since wild boars are fast, unpredictable, and can be dangerous when cornered. To ensure safety and coordination, hunters usually work in small teams and use radios or hand signals to communicate during the drive. This method, locally known as organized hunting or group hunting, is not only a traditional activity in many regions of Germany but also a regulated event often organized by hunting associations. This method offers several advantages, rapidly reducing wild boar numbers, helping manage wildlife across a broader territory, and allowing for selective harvesting. However, it also requires more manpower, experienced handlers, and catch dogs. When done properly, hunting with guns and dogs becomes a powerful tool, especially when traps alone cannot keep up with the scale of wild boar invasions. Another widely used method in Germany to control wild boars is trap hunting. Unlike rifle hunting, which often requires time, precision, and multiple outings to achieve results, traps can eliminate entire herds of wild boars, known as altimeters, in just one night. This method helps reduce labor and fuel costs, limits risk to hunters, and provides a consistent approach to population management without sacrificing effectiveness. The most widely used trap in Germany is the corral trap, a large, sturdy enclosure made from steel livestock panels arranged in a circular or rectangular shape. These traps are designed to catch multiple animals at once and are usually equipped with a drop gate or saloon-style entry that allows boars in but prevents escape. Many modern setups are upgraded with remote control gate systems, allowing users to monitor activity via surveillance cameras and only trigger the gate from a smartphone when the entire group has entered. This prevents educating the rest of the boars, which often happens when only one or two are caught and the others escape.
Like that cutter's on it.
Success in trap hunting depends heavily on the baiting process, which begins several days before the trap is actually set. Bait such as fermented corn, ground grain, or sweet fruit is placed inside and around the trap to get wild boars accustomed to feeding there without fear. This pre-baiting phase is critical, as it builds trust and encourages the whole group to enter the trap together. Hunters carefully observe the wild boar's behavior using motion-activated cameras, waiting for the moment when the full altimeter is regularly feeding inside. Only then is the trap armed and the gate mechanism triggered by a manual or remote system. Once the gate drops, the wild boars are confined and cannot escape. Handling them requires caution, as trapped wild boars can be extremely aggressive and dangerous. In most cases, they are humanely dispatched using firearms under strict safety guidelines. In areas with strict wildlife regulations, captured animals may be reported or turned over to authorities. Although the initial construction of traps requires some investment, usually between 1,000 and 2,500 euros, the ability to repeatedly catch large numbers of boars makes this a worthwhile long-term solution. In fact, many German farmers have found that properly placed corral traps can outperform other methods when it comes to large-scale population reduction. Each method has its own strengths, but which one would you choose if faced with a real wild boar invasion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about invasive species and the fight against them. The roar of a lion pierces the night sky in the remote mountains of Kenya, no longer a symbol of the wild, but a warning. Attacks have spiked in recent months, tearing apart livestock, invading porches, and even attacking people. For small communities living on the fringes of the forest, survival now depends on urgent decisions. Is controlled hunting the only way to stop the threat, or can we find a balance between safety and conservation? Find out in this video.
Chị không biết.
After leaving the car, we moved gently, keeping absolute silence. Round, bowl-sized footprints were clearly visible on the ground, still damp from the previous night's rain. Any noise would alert the lion and cause it to flee, or worse, return to ambush. Judging by the fresh footprints and droppings, Johan determined that it was no more than 2 kilometers away. I held my gun steady, feeling the tension build with each step.
Shoot again.
At that moment, Johan signaled to stop. On top of a mound of earth about 150 meters away from us, a golden mane emerged from the dry grass. Johan did not wait. He knelt down, adjusted his aim, and fired a shot that hit the beast in the left shoulder. The lion's roar echoed. As I passed a fallen log, the lion suddenly jumped up less than 20 meters in front of me. Without thinking, I raised my gun and fired a shot into its belly. It let out a long, farewell roar, then passed out. The dense mopane trees made visibility difficult. Our guides whispered of a pride of lions moving just ahead, possibly including cubs and 2 defensive lionesses. We advanced cautiously. Suddenly, a male lion charged through the undergrowth without warning. I barely had time to raise my rifle before pulling the trigger. The first round hit low, slowing the lion. It staggered, but did not fall. A second shot to the chest ended its charge.
Take it there. Yep. And shoot him. Reload. In the chest. Good shot, man.
Keep it up.
Five minutes, 10 minutes, time seemed to stop. Then suddenly, a small wild boar ran past it, causing the lion to jump up. Its body was full of strength, its muscles clearly visible under its golden fur. I raised my gun, held my breath, and kept my aim just behind its shoulder blades, the ideal position.
Thank you. Sir.
When it instinctively turned to observe its prey, I pulled the trigger. The loud bang echoed across the savannah. The lion leaped up, roared loudly, and then staggered towards the trees. The group immediately closed in with extreme caution. The next shots were provided by Johan, pinning the animal's flank as it began to lose its balance. After nearly 20 minutes of chasing, the lion collapsed, lying motionless under a thorny acacia tree, blood gradually spreading on the dry leaves. In the early morning hours of August 14, 2022, on the remote outskirts of Tsavo National Park, a ranger named Daniel Mwangi was patrolling a dry riverbed when he was suddenly attacked by a male lion. The animal, perhaps driven by hunger during the dry season, stalked Daniel for several minutes without being detected. As Daniel stepped over a fallen log, the lion burst out of a bush, knocking him to the ground with a thunderous roar.
Does not like that car, does he?
Despite serious injuries to his shoulder and arm, Daniel fought back and radioed for emergency assistance. He survived, but the encounter became a reminder of the delicate balance between humans and wildlife.
Pierde.
The midday sun glinted off the Kalahari sands as we tracked a lone male lion. Just as we reached the top of a dune, the lion lunged from behind a rock. I fired at close range. The first shot missed its neck, but the second hit it in the shoulder, sending it reeling backward.
If you're ready, Stefan, you can take him. Reload. We got you.
Jackson immediately gave chase and we kept our distance, waiting a few more minutes before approaching. Any professional hunter knew, lions can feign death, and one final, dying pounce can be enough to kill them. But not this time. It was gone, silent, majestic as the wild it was. Johann bowed his head, placing his hand on the beast's forehead in honor.
Shoot. Okay, whoa. No, it doesn't get more exciting than that.
Conservationists say such controlled hunting is necessary, especially in areas where lions are increasingly coming into contact with humans, with more than 230 attacks on humans in the past 5 years alone in the fringes of South Africa and Botswana. Lions are no longer just majestic symbols, they're also a safety, conservation, and economic dilemma. Legal hunting also brings in significant revenue for conservation. Each permit can cost between $15,000 and $50,000, which is reinvested in the ecosystem. Near the outer boundary of the park, we chased a male lion that had been driven from its pride and terrorized by Dave St. Town. Across the open ground, they sprinted, blending into the golden savanna. My first shot missed completely. A second hit a lion in the hindquarters, momentarily knocking it to the ground. As I closed in, it reared up again, baring its fangs. I didn't hesitate. A final bullet hit it between the eyes. Its kind escaped that day, but not for long.
She made a good shot.
Good shot, baby.
Thunderclouds gathered overhead as we entered a clearing near Etosha. A pair of lions had been feeding on cattle for 3 nights, returning like clockwork. We had set up an ambush for dusk. I fired the first shot at the larger male. The impact broke his foreleg and sent him sprawling. The female darted to the left, into the undergrowth. David tracked her down and brought her down with a shot to the neck at 40 yards. Lightning flashed in the distance as we closed in on their motionless corpses. While driving through the dry bushland of Zambia, a lioness ambushed our truck from the passenger side, jumping into the back tire. We stopped immediately. Searched the bushes. She stood on a large tree trunk, swishing her tail, growling at us, majestic.
Okay. Where? Okay.
Okay, relax.
Put down the gun and took aim from 10 meters away. The first bullet hit her in the upper spine. She twisted violently. I fired 2 more shots before she fell, still growling a few times, then lay still. The attack was unexpected, and ultimately achieved a perfect success.
guys tell me where's better?
Get a humane kill, a clean kill. You don't take chances with this dangerous stuff.
We got back to the car, the sun was high, dyeing the wasteland gold. The car started and rolled toward camp, carrying the carcass of the lion that would be preserved for scientific study. There was no joy or gloating, just silence and reflection. We had done what we had to do, within the law and within ecological goals. But I also knew that no shot was ever complete without a reverberation in the mind of the shooter. In just 2 weeks, we had neutralized 10 lions in 5 regions of southern Africa. Each hunt was different, some ended in seconds, others were drawn out in blood and tension, but all were conducted within the law.